And we are back for another episode ng Pretty Petty the Podcast. I'm your pretty but sometimes petty host, Tito Alvin, and in this podcast, pag-uusapan natin ang mga hottest issues, trending topics, and everything pretty and petty. If it's your first time here sa podcast, please do consider subscribing to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button and then click nyo yung notification bell para updated ka sa mga bagong episodes. If you are listening naman sa Spotify, please follow our page sa Spotify by going back to the main page and then click nyo yung follow button. You can also follow our social media pages in Facebook, Instagram, and in TikTok by going to the link you see at the bottom of your screen or just go to linktr.ee/prettypettythepodcast. Now, for this week, by the time I release this episode, siguro may 2 weeks na ang nakalipas from the election. So, most likely, alam na natin kung sino yung top 12 na nakapasok, yung mga nanalong senador. No? Pero isa sa mga nakakagulat na pangalang pumasok sa Magic 12 ay si Senator Bam Aquino. Hence, the hairstyle, the salamin, and the pink polo. I'm embodying Bam Aquino right now. Charot. Okay, so marami ang nagulat sa pagpasok ni Bam Aquino sa top 12 ng senatorial elections. At maraming nagulat dahil nakuha niya ang top 2 spot. Bakit nakakagulat? Every time na may lalabas na survey, during the start of the elections, hindi naman pumapasok si Bam Aquino. Actually, based from his interviews, nung nagsimula ang campaign period, nung naglabasan ng mga surveys na yan, he is at the 24th spot. Napakababa niya sa ranking. Hindi siya pumapasok sa top 12. It's just about a week or 2 weeks leading towards election day. Dun siya nakapasok sa top 12. Tapos usually nasa 8 or 10th spot lang siya. Wala siya sa top 5 ng mga senador sa surveys. Kaya nung election day, maraming nagulat dahil nga consistent na number 2 or nasa number 2 spot si Senator Bam Aquino, no, despite being low sa mga surveys. So ang tanong is, paano nangyari yun? Paano nangyaring napunta siya sa top 2 spot pero hindi naman siya lumalabas sa surveys? So, bago ko simulan to, no, itong pag-uusap na to, magbibigay muna ako ng isang disclaimer. Disclaimer. Ayan. Disclaimer ko lang po, no, sa lahat ng listeners and viewers natin na hindi po ako isang political analyst, no? So the things I'm going to say here are just my theories based from what I observed from the campaign period to the election and based from the interviews of Senator Bam Aquino nung after na nung election. So wag na kayong mag-comment ng hashtag nagmamarunong ako or kung ano man kasi hindi naman talaga. Hindi ko kiniklaim na nagmamarunong ako, no? Again, these are just my theories and they may or may not be 100% correct. You may or may not agree with the things I'm going to say. Okay, so simulan na natin. My number 1 theory kung bakit nakapasok si Bam Aquino sa top 12 and bagging the top 2 spot is because of the voting powers of the millennials and the Gen Zs. Okay? I'm not saying na lahat ng millennials at lahat ng Gen Z ay binoto si Bam Aquino, no? Pero what I can say is that yung mga Gen Zs and yung mga millennials, at least yung majority ng mga younger millennials, most of them are critical thinkers nowadays. Again, generally speaking, no, for sure, meron naman mga Gen Zs dyan and mga millennials na medyo sablay yung voting. Pero majority ng mga generations na to, I believe naman na nag-iisip. I believe naman na nag-research bago sila bumoto. Siguro dahil na din sa majority ng mga younger generations, sila yung mga nakatuntong ng college, nakapagtapos, sila yung college education. Siguro sila yung generation na mas adaptable sa technology nowadays Kaya mas madali na sa kanila ang mag-research, no, compared sa mga senior citizens, sa mga older generations. Hirap niya mag-cellphone, hirap niya mag-research. So magbabase na lang yan sa kung ano nakikita nila sa street saka sa TV. Pero yung mga Gen Zs and Millennials, sila yung mas may capability mag-dig deeper sa mga nangyayari sa bansa, sila yung may capability mag-conduct ng intensive research sa platforms and sa track record ng mga bawat kandidato. Ngayon, speaking of Gen Zs and mga millennials, no, based sa data ng COMELEC, ito, fact to, sigurado ako dito. The number of registered voters from the Gen Zs and the millennial generation sums up 63% of the voting population. So sa lahat ng mga registered voters dito sa Pilipinas, 63% falls under the Gen Z and millennial generation. So more than half ng mga registered yung mga pwedeng bumoto, yung mga registered voters ay galing millennial at Gen Z generations. Kaya napakalaking factor na yung mga Gen Zs at millennials ay tumayo, no, nagpunta sa mga voting precincts at bumoto. Ngayon hindi lang naman 'yan, no. What I'm saying is that Gen Zs and millennials going to the voting precincts to vote para manalo si Bam is one thing. But it goes the same way to the other people who votes for other people. For example, yung mga bumoto kay Erwin Tulfo, bumoto kay Camille Villar, bumoto kay Bongo. Tumayo sila, nagpunta ng voting precinct para bumoto, para i-express yung boses nila and yung right nila to vote. So, hindi lang yan specifically kay Bam Aquino lang. Para yan sa lahat ng kandidato. Kaya I can't really stress it enough, the importance of really voting because you will never know. Every vote counts. Kahit mag-isa lang yung boto mo, that will still count and that may change the narrative altogether. Ngayon, number 2 na theory ko kung bakit nanalo si Bam Aquino is the importance of track record. Okay, even though Senator Bam lacks the machinery of a big and popular political party, hindi siya PDP laban, hindi siya part ng senatorial slate ng administration, independent siya. Ang kaalay lang niya si Kiko Bam lang yung party nila, di ba? So, kahit wala siya nung makinarya ng isang political party para sa isang kampanya, he banked on his solid track record. He banked on his previous accomplishment as a senator nung nakaraan, which is yung napasa niyang law, which is yung free college tuition law, tsaka yung Go Negosyo Act. So, maraming naging beneficiaries yung mga batas na yan na pinasa ni Bam. So, yung mga beneficiaries na to, somehow, hindi ko masasabing utang na loob. Siguro part of it is that. Pero what I can say is that alam nila na may nagawa si Senator Bam kasi na-experience nila yung benefit. Kumbaga naramdaman nila yung mga batas na pinasa ni Bam Aquino. Kaya willing silang iboto si Bam kasi alam nilang in the future marami pa siyang pwedeng magawa. Nagagas ba ibig ko sabihin? So, wala man siyang troll farm tulad ng ibang mga kandidato, wala man siyang malaking budget for a campaign. Ang meron siya isang solid na platform at isang solid na track record. Now, speaking of troll farm, ito side story lang, no. Noong mga nakaraan sa TikTok, kung hindi pa ako fina-follow sa TikTok, please follow nyo ko doon. Naglabas ako ng video about ChatGPT, kung sino yung iboboto ni ChatGPT, no. So meron tayong mga ilang pangalan ng senador. Doon ko nakita na yung ibang senador talaga, ibang mga tao talaga na kumakandidato, meron talaga silang mga troll farms. Very obvious kasi mapapansin mo yung mga comments nila, una yung mga usernames nila parang alam mong weird alam mong hindi pangalan ng tao, alam mong medyo weird sa username pa lang. Tapos yung mga comment nila, alam mong hindi organic, alam mong scripted yung mga comments. Minsan mga pare-pareho na eh. Minsan same thought, iba lang yung wording, pero alam mong scripted. So, may mga politiko talagang gumagamit ng mga troll farms para i-push yung agenda nila. Nakakatawa nga, siguro may mga humahabol sa payout ng mga troll farms. So, tapos na yung election, comment pa rin sila ng comment kung gaano kagaling yung kandidato nila, yung kandidato natalo. Naku, hindi ko alam, basta check nyo lang sa TikTok yung mga comments para malaman nyo kung sinong kandidato yung sinasabi kong may mga troll farm. Anyway, balik na tayo. Number 3, theory. Kung bakit sa tingin ko nanalo si Bam Aquino. I believe malaking bagay yung breakup ng Team Uniteam. Again, you may agree or disagree, pero for me, isang malaking factor kung bakit nakapasok si Bam sa top 12. So, si Bam Aquino did not run for senator during the last election, yung 2022 election. Instead, he became the campaign manager of the now mayor of Naga, Leni Robredo. Alam naman natin kung ano yung nangyari during that year, di ba? Dahil sa tandem ni BBM and then ni Sara, nabuo ang Uniteam. So, nagkaroon ng solidified voting block ang mga tao from the north, which is from BBM, and from the south, which is yung baluarte ni Sara. So, kumbaga, solid yung dalawa dahil sa Uniteam. Kaya nga sila nanalo ng 31 million, di ba? Ngayon, dahil dun sa disbandment ng Uniteam, dahil hindi na sila Uniteam ngayon, magkaaway na sila ngayon, medyo nawala na yung solid north and solid south. Wala na. Nagkanya-kanya na sila. So, yung mga solid north, binoto yung mga slate ng mga administration. And then yung mga solid south, yung binoto yung mga in-endorse ng mga Dutertes. So, because of that, nagkaroon ngayon ng opening para sa isang Bam Aquino. With the correct campaign strategy, i-partner mo pa yan with a robust social media and ground campaigning. Bam was able to convince a lot of people coming from different provinces in the country to vote for him. Kasi wala lang solid-solid eh. Wala lang pakialam yung mga tao kung maglagay pa sila ng isang Bam Aquino. Kasi for sure, yung slate ng administration and slate ng nila Sara Duterte, ng mga Dutertes, for sure meron dyang isang pangalan or dalawang pangalan na medyo alanganin iboto pa rin eh kasi hindi kilala or walang track record. So, willing yung mga taong maglagay ng bagong pangalan. It just so happened, Bam Aquino was there. Diba? Bam Aquino was there. So, it's just a free name that people can choose from the list of 64 other senators. So, because of that, nakuha niya yung ilang mga boto on different provinces. And, funny you may ask, Bam Aquino actually topped a lot of provinces and cities in the Philippines. Okay? Ito yung ilang cities and provinces kung saan top senator si Bam Aquino. Sa north, nandiyan ang Pangasinan. Sa Luzon area din, Tarlac, Zambales, Nueva Ecija, Albay, Sorsogon, Bulacan, Quezon City, Marikina, Pasig, Manila, Muntinlupa, and Las Piñas, just to name a few. Konti lang yan, hindi pa yan yung lahat. Marami pang iba. And on some provinces naman, sa Visayas and sa Luzon, nasa top 5 siya. Sa Mindanao, medyo hindi ganun kaganda yung numbers niya, pero hindi naman siya kulelat. Pasok pa rin siya sa top 12, pero hindi naman ganun kababa yung boto niya. Which just goes to show na nakuha niya yung boto from all parts of the Philippines. Pero imagine niyo kung andyan pa rin ang solid north and solid south, feeling ko, hindi makakapasok si Bam. Because yung mga solid voters from the north and the south, ipopush nila yung solid voting block nila eh. Hindi sila pipili ng iba. Hindi ganoon na nangyari, di ba? So, lucky for Bam. And lucky also for Kiko Pangilinan. Lucky for him kasi feeling ko ganun din yung nangyari sa kanya. Now, moving on to the fourth and last theory ko kung bakit sa tingin ko nakapasok si Bam sa top 12 ng senatorial election is because people nowadays are really hungry for change. Siguro connected to doon sa fact that majority of the voters are millennials and Gen Zs. So bakit ko nasabi yun? Ngayon, ang workforce, majority of the workforce falls under the older Gen Zs and the millennials. Sila ngayon yung mga current nasa workforce eh. So ramdam nila ang traffic, ramdam nila yung bigat ng pagbawas ng tax sa kanila, ramdam nila yung kakulangan ng healthcare, ramdam yung may mga millennials na may anak, ramdam nila yung hirap ng education system. Yung mga nag-aaral pang Gen Z, alam nila yung hirap. Ramdam nila yung hirap ng walang college tuition, yung walang pang tuition. So, a lot of these people wants change in this current administration. Gusto nila may magbago na. So, regardless kung ikaw ay nasa Gen Z, nagaling kang millennial, isa kang Gen X, isa kang boomer, no? This goes beyond the generation gaps and social statuses eh. A lot of people right now are thinking of the future. A lot of people now are bago sila bumoto, iisipin nila ano ang mangyayari pag ito ang binoto ko. What I mean is that the younger generation thinks about their future and the older generation are now thinking of their children's future. Ito isang side story. May mga nabasa akong kwento na yung ibang mga parents bago sila bumoto the day before or days before the election, they actually consulted their children, either Gen Z or younger millennial. They consulted their children kung sino ang iboboto nila. Kinonsult nila yung mga anak nila kung sino yung iboboto nila kasi yun na lang din ang iboboto nila. Kasi for them, para sa kanila, yung mga actions ng magiging senators, ang magbe-benefit naman na yan is yung mga batang generation. Hindi na yung matatanda masyado. It's very important that nakikinig ang older generation sa boses ng mga younger generations because sila yung magbe-benefit ng mga actions ng mga senators na to. Pero to be honest, marami pa rin namang mga botante ang hindi nag-iisip. Hello, magtataka pa ba tayo? Merong isang senador na pumasok na technically hindi dapat pumasok. Di ba? Hindi ko na sasabihin ng pangalan, alam niyo na kung sino yan. Pero it's just refreshing to see that new names actually got a seat sa Senate, no? Regardless kung anong class, kung anong political colors ang galing yan. Andyan si Bam Aquino, si Kiko Pangilinan, matagal na siyang wala sa Senado. We have the likes of Marcoleta, Camille Villar, who else? Yeah, just to name a few. Ando pa rin naman yung mga traditional mong senador. Pero at least it's so refreshing to see new names sa Senado to check and to see what they are capable of. Meaning, medyo nawawala na sa mentality ng mga Pilipino ang traditional politicians. Yung mga nagbubudots, wala na, di na nakapasok. Yung mga artista, the likes of Willie Revillamen, Ipe, Salvador, wala na, di ba? Hindi sila nakapasok kasi a lot of people are now thinking critically. Nag-iisip na sila bago bumoto. A lot of people right now are voting beyond the political colors na. I mean, kaya siguro nakapasok si Bam kasi hindi nila binotong straight yung senatorial slate nung administration. So they have space for, 2 to 3 new senators, new names. So I think that's one of the factors kung bakit nakapasok si Bam Aquino. Ayan, so to cap all of this, no, so we can only speculate kung ano ba talaga yung totoong rason kung paano nagawa ni Bam makamit at makuha ang top 2 sa Magic 12 ng senatorial elections, no. We may not know the correct reasons and the right reasons kung paano nangyari yon, pero this is just the beginning for Senator Bam. Now the pressure is on for him to deliver. Kasi for sure, maraming mga mata ang nakatingin sa kanya, naka-laser focus kay Bam Aquino ngayon kung ano ang magagawa niya sa Senado. Okay, these people will be watching with keen eyes. I'm hoping and to be honest, I'm really confident that Senator Bam will deliver and he will not disappoint the people that believed in him. Kasi, hello, ang daming tao ang, sabihin natin, sumugal sa kanya. Nung mga una, hindi naman siya balak iboto, pero in the end, binoto siya. Sumugal sila kay Bam Aquino. And I believe that Bam Aquino will not disappoint these people. And it's so refreshing and it's so happy to say that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully, people will start changing the voting trend. Tanggalin na yung dynasties. Although meron pa rin naman, pero at least hindi naman ganun kabigat. Sana we look for the track record and hopefully in the next coming elections ay mas makuha natin ang mas magandang results. Okay, so I will end the episode right there. And kung nagustuhan nyo ang episode na ito, please give us a like, give us a share, and follow nyo ako or subscribe kayo sa YouTube channel ko by clicking on the subscribe button and then click nyo yung notification bell. Sa Spotify naman, follow nyo kami dyan and give us a 5-star rating if you can. You can also follow us in Facebook, Instagram, and in TikTok by going to the link you see at the bottom of your screen, or you can go to linktr.ee/prettypettythepodcast. If you're a brand looking for partnership and collaboration, feel free to send me an email at prettypettythepodcast@gmail.com. And with that, lagi nating tatandaan to always stay pretty at wag maging petty. Bye!